President Sisi opens the D-8 summit in Egypt, highlighting cooperation among developing countries. Prime Minister Madbouli meets the CEO of GE Healthcare to discuss local production of ultrasound devices in Egypt. The Ministry of Tourism denies reports of Mr. Beast renting the pyramids for filming. You're watching the latest updates from Egypt on Qnews. Let's move to the latest developments. The 11th D-8 Organization for Economic Cooperation Summit has begun in Cairo with leaders from member states, Egypt, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Iran, Malaysia, Nigeria, Pakistan and Turkey attending. Egypt, chairing the group until 2025, hosted the summit under the theme Investing in Youth and Supporting SMEs, Shaping Tomorrow's Economy. Discussions focused on addressing global economic and political challenges, with bilateral meetings also planned to strengthen economic and social ties among the developing member nations. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has opened the D-8 summit in Egypt's new administrative capital, emphasizing cooperation among developing countries to tackle global challenges. Assuming the organization's rotating presidency, el-Sisi launched initiatives on diplomacy, youth, innovation, economic collaboration and healthcare. Highlighting themes of investing in youth and supporting SMEs, the Egyptian president stressed the importance of solidarity, shared experiences and sustainable development. El-Sisi also announced Egypt's ratification of the preferential trade agreement and called for urgent discussions on Palestine and Lebanon amid escalating Middle Eastern crises. The Developing 8 Summit for Economic Cooperation has issued the Cairo Declaration after it was approved by the summit's leaders. The D-8 Cairo Declaration reaffirms the commitment of members to sustain agriculture, addressing climate change, and enhancing cooperation in science, technology, and innovation. Participating countries also agreed to improve logistics, support emerging sectors like digital commerce, and promote inclusive growth through small businesses. They will also focus on boosting investment, increasing intra-G8 trade, and strengthening multilateral cooperation. Their priorities include equality, the rule of law, democracy, and advancing common development goals based on peace and justice. And for commenting following Egypt's hosting of the D-8 summit, we're joined from Cairo by Ayman Ghunaim, economic expert. Good evening to you, sir, and welcome to Qnews.
Good evening, madam.
Now, what is your comment on Egypt's hosting the D-8 summit at this very particular time?
Well, the new republic that's now being established here in Egypt under the leadership of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi is playing a pivotal role in its traditional circles, the Arab, the Islamic, and the African circles, the three traditional circles of the Egyptian diplomacy, as well as the wider circles, the European circle, the North America, and the Eastern circle, including, of course, the BRICS countries. Speaking about the developing countries, actually, Egypt is trying to cooperate with its traditional circles, as we said, both on the economic as well as the political fields, because we know that the relationship between economics and politics is a double way. There is an interrelationship between the economic ties and the political ties. Strengthening one leads to strengthen the other. Egypt now is trying to build its economy. It's encouraging its foreign direct investment. Egypt is promoting its exports, trying to reach the goal of $100 billion a year exports. And there is a wide area of cooperation and different fields in which we can cooperate with those countries. The Egyptian diplomacy traditionally, and especially also now, focuses on reaching settlement and attaining world peace and security. The Egyptian diplomacy focuses also on the strengthening of the bilateral relations, the strengthening of or the deepening of the economic ties and the common interests, and it's respected worldwide. We've seen the presidential activities during the last few months. We've seen the reception of President Abbas in the European Union, and how Egypt was respected, and how the Egyptian diplomacy under his leadership was appreciated in the European Union, and before that in the BRICS summit and in the G20 summit. So all these efforts...
Mr. Karim, if I may specify the G8 and the role it can play in enhancing economic cooperation among the member states, and what specific strategies can Egypt employ during the D-8 summit to leverage the discussions for attracting foreign investments?
Well, actually, Egypt has been calling for, as we said, increasing economic ties, especially adopting payment systems in currencies. I believe that such scheme can increase the bilateral trade between Egypt and its counterparties in the D8 group. That's one thing. Plus, now Egypt has a lot of competitive advantages that it's promoting. Egypt has, of course, a key role in Africa. Egypt is the key to Africa, to the African continent. And Egypt has proximity to the southern European market. It's the goods and commodities that are produced, let's say, in Southeast Asia, has to bear the cost of transportation from Southeast Asia all through the way through the Indian Ocean, then the Straits of Bab el-Mandeb, then the Red Sea until Suez Canal. But all this cost is deducted from the goods produced in Egypt. So many foreign investors, they are interested in establishing factories and production facilities here in Egypt in order to export to Southern Europe. Also, the infrastructure that Egypt has put a lot of investment during the last 10 years now is paying off and is encouraging.
Yes, but we're speaking about strategies that are to be put in this very particular summit so as to leverage the means of attracting foreign investments.
I believe that there should be a lot of bilateral agreements, especially to elevate the relationships between Egypt and many of these countries into or up to the level of strategic partnership, like the bilateral agreements between Egypt and Denmark, let's say, that was signed last month. That's on one hand, and also I believe that a lot of businessman councils can be established between the Egyptian businessmen and businessmen and business corporations in many of these countries, because such business council has a vested interest in promoting the bilateral trade and promoting the foreign direct investment. So
indeed,
I believe that these two vehicles can be really beneficial to promote the economic ties between Egypt and the D8.
From Cairo, that was Mr. Ayman Ghunaim, economic expert. We thank you so much, sir, for your insights. And back to our bulletin, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian has emphasized at the D8 summit in Cairo the organization's focus on youth empowerment, SME support, and investment initiatives. Pezeshkian stressed the importance of adapting to global advancements across sectors. Praising Egypt's leadership and vast resources, he expressed confidence in achieving key goals under Egypt's President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. Pezeshkian called for enhanced cooperation among member states to advance the well-being of their populations. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has criticized global institutions for failing to address rising conflicts, particularly in the Middle East, during the D-8 summit in Cairo. Erdogan urged leveraging the group's resources to support SMEs and youth for economic growth and stressed using AI in modern technology. He welcomed Azerbaijan's membership, highlighted Turkey's efforts for stability in Syria, and called for a unified, peaceful in Syria free from terrorism, fostering coexistence among all communities. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has emphasized the need for Palestine's full UN membership to ensure regional security and stability. In his speech at the 11th D-8 summit in Cairo, Abbas condemned the daily massacres and genocides faced by Palestinians, calling for the immediate implementation of UN Security Council Resolution 2735 to end the violence and allow aid. He also highlighted the importance of supporting UNRWA and empowering youth and women for national development, while urging international intervention in Lebanon and Syria. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli has met Mark Seuss, CEO of GE Healthcare, to discuss the long-standing cooperation between the Egyptian government and the company. The Prime Minister expressed his appreciation and support for the company's intention to manufacture ultrasound devices in Egypt as part of the government's efforts to localize medical device manufacturing. He confirmed that the government would grant the company all the necessary incentives to ensure the success of the ultrasound manufacturing project in Egypt. Ministry of Tourism has confirmed that reports circulated on some news websites and social media platforms about the famous American YouTuber Mr. Beast renting the Giza Pyramids area for 100 hours for filming purposes are completely false. The ministry has clarified that the filming was part of the YouTuber's project to shoot a series of short films within the area, which serves as a promotional tool for tourism in Egypt, particularly cultural tourism, by highlighting this archaeological site and the historical treasures and secrets of ancient Egyptian civilization. The CEO of the General Authority for Investment and Free Zones, Hossam Heiba, and officials from Access Health International have discussed prospective cooperation to attract fresh investments in the health sector. The discussion focused on leveraging Access Health International's global network of over 100 international partners to promote investments in various healthcare fields. These include medical tourism, healthcare facility development, pharmaceutical and vaccine manufacturing, medical equipment production, and health insurance services. Both sides highlighted the need to develop an interactive health investment map to showcase Egypt's numerous opportunities in the sector. The Egyptian exchange market capitalization has gained £2 billion, fueled by foreign investor purchases. The market capitalization slightly rose to £2.23 trillion Egyptian pound, up from £2.22 trillion. Meanwhile, the stock exchange showed mixed performance, with the main index EGX 30 rising by 0.08%, while the EGX 70 index for small and medium stocks declined by 0.11%. The broader EGX 100 index achieved limited gains of 0.05%, while the Islamic Sharia index saw a slight decline of 0.04%. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin. Here is what we've been covering. President Sisi opens the D-8 summit in Egypt, highlighting cooperation among developing countries. Prime Minister Madbouli meets the CEO of GE Healthcare to discuss local production of ultrasound devices in Egypt. And the Ministry of Tourism denies reports of Mr. Beast renting the pyramids for filming. That's all for now. Remember to stay updated by following Qnews for the latest developments.